NXT UK, NXT, 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 NXT. So NXT UK TakeOver no, not Blackpool, Blackpool, yeah, um, had happened around 2 at Eastern time, which is like, what, 7 at night in the UK? I could be wrong. I'm not good with the time zone stuff. So, yeah, so heading into the show, I have not watched, since the first episode, I have not watched any of the NXT UK episodes, and I really haven't caught up to anything that was going on. But for some reason, I get the feeling I didn't have to, because, well, here's the thing. I suddenly got it with the promos they did instead of commentary just rapping on and on and on and on and recapping everything because we're morons and we can't just watch a good promo episode of the event. So, yeah, heading into NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, we were all hyped up for this event. I was hyped up because I knew, hey, it's NXT. It's never failed before. So, and this is UK's first outing, so let's see how this goes. And sure enough, we find out that Jordan Devlin had attacked Travis Banks as soon as he arrived on the area, and he had been receiving medical treatment since the attack, but he's been cleared to compete tonight. And we would get series of great matches in this event, as in Mustache Mountain and wearing British Bulldog inspired gear to take on the grizzled young veterans. One of them being the winners of the tournament of 2018, but did not win the title match. And it started off really kind of slow. Like, this is how I see British wrestling. I could be completely wrong about this. They seem to operate on a more slower pace starting, and then starts to build itself up to hype itself into extravagant, explosive action with aggressiveness. That's at least what I keep thinking. I keep thinking, oh, this is like Bobby Roode's NXT run. So, yeah. So, heading into this event, they would go ahead and have Mustache Mountain and the grizzled young veterans fight and battle each other. There was a lot of wrestling. There was a lot of wrestling that I'm familiar with, and they really tore the house down. This was the second longest match of the night. It was for the inaugural NXT TakeOver UK Championships, and they are the most beautifully designed titles I've ever seen. They are so beautiful to look at. But I wanted to see how this match goes, and I knew who Mustache Mountain were. I knew a little bit of the grizzled young veterans, but I wanted to see them work together, and this was a freaking awesome match. It was chaotic, it was brutal, it was so dissecting of people's wrestling of the limbs and anatomy. In fact, I was kind of in shock that Tyler Bay is only in his early 20s and he's just doing all this great stuff and he's able to be this strong. And I was like, okay, he has to be competing for world title opportunities, right? He should be competing for world title opportunities. Sadly, I don't know if that will ever happen, but it'd be fun to dream. But if it was not Pete Dunne, then it would be a class action lawsuit waiting to happen from the fans and from everyone else. So, yeah, Gibson. I was heading into the show thinking that the British Strong Style was going to come out winning all the titles. And sure enough, what shocked me about this match was the fact that Mustache Mountain would lose this match. And I was like, okay, that's a little surprising. And sure enough, like, it was shocking that Mustache Mountain lost. Like, I was expecting them to win the NXT UK titles, and yet they didn't. So heading into this, I was thinking like, oh, is this the night British Strong Style falls apart? Are they going to lose all their matches? So yeah, like that idea actually seemed possible because this is NXT and you can expect the unexpected. But the one thing I did love, other than Tyler Bate being awesome, is this moment where they do this suicide dive off a Tower of Doom maneuver outside the ring, and it was like, oh man, that was pretty freaking awesome. Like, everything about it was just awesome. This is a very epic, legendary tag team match. It should be a contender for match of the year, honestly. And I really do look forward to what they're going to do together again in the future. But, yeah, it was pretty crazy of how that match went. We got chain wrestling, chain submission, shoulder wrestling. I thought the Mustache Mountain almost could have tapped out together. But yeah, the Grizzled Young Veterans are the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Okay, here's the thing. When I was hearing all these titles were being made, it was like, it's becoming less of championship glory and more like a participation award now. Like, really, I miss the old system when there was like 4-5 titles at best. You had the WWE title, you had the Intercontinental title, you had maybe a secondary minor title, you would have the women's title, and you had the tag team titles. But since the brand split and add that WWE just started making more and more titles, it started looking like, okay, might as well just do our whole Crisis on Infinite Championship storyline somehow. Maybe Vince could do it. He'll probably be interested in retiring a bunch of NXT titles because he loves it. I'll get to Vince at the end of this. I was shocked when they did that. So, yeah. Trent Severin and Pete Dunne. I thought, like, did Trent Severin get his head busted open? I couldn't tell for all. Like, I didn't see blood everywhere. But it looked like I thought it was blood. It could have been a dye in his hair he did for this event, but I just really couldn't tell. And yeah, but then I had looked it up and found out that there was an elbow shot busted that opened the back of Trent Severin's head, and I'm surprised he still kept going. Like, okay, I'm surprised no one tried to stop the match. But I'm glad that they managed to finish the match and still make a match of the year quality fight. And yeah, Tyler Bate was awesome. I loved every moment of it. I would have loved if Mustache Mountain won, but I really am interested to see where this group goes, because I did think when NXT UK was being formed, I thought, so is this mostly going to focus, the brand's going to be built around Trent Severin, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate? That was always my initial thought. I was glad that they're going to build it around everybody. But then we got to the biggest pop of the night. You see, and if you're seeing this image, it's not deceiving you. You see, Jordan Devlin would attack Travis Banks before the match. Well, Travis Banks tries to get revenge, but Jordan Devlin would subsequently injure his leg repeatedly, causing him to be carried out to the back and having to cancel the match. So the general managers were like, we kind of had a plan B. So they summoned Jordan Devlin's duplicate, aka his secret genetic source material, aka his teacher, Finn Balor. Yeah, Finn Balor has finally returned home. The Prince has returned to reclaim his dominance and impose his will on the NXT universe. And yeah, when you look at Jordan Devlin and Finn Balor, like, you were already making the comparison that Jordan Devlin looks very much like Finn Balor, and now you're seeing it up close. It's like, are they clones? Are they secretly siblings and no one knows about it? Or is it that rare genetic material in the world that somehow you have a person that looks exactly like you and for some reason you're not related to them? But yeah, Finn Balor showing up was the biggest pop of the night. And I was like, see, that's a star there. That's the star we want to see. We don't like WWE's version of Balor where he's all smiling and all cool and whatnot with everything, even when he's assaulted. No, we want the Finn Balor that went ahead and transformed into a demon, kicked ass, take names, and did the shoot style when it came to the Bullet Club. aka we want Prince Devitt. So, yeah. And this match, I really had wished it was longer. That was my one complaint. I really wish this match was longer. It was not your British wrestling style as far as I've seen, but it was more of the fast-paced, aggressive, mainstream style that Finn Balor's basically been adapted to since he was called up. And yeah, this was pretty insane how fast this match was. Like, this was like, what, 11 minutes and 36 seconds from what I was reading? But this match was just so insane, so chaotic, and so fast and aggressive that I loved every moment of it. And it did feel like, okay, does Vince not realize what he's... If Vince is watching this, he has to be seeing Finn Balor right now. This is the Finn Balor we want, not PG-friendly Balor. We want the Balor that tells people to go fuck themselves. But, yeah, they're probably never going to introduce that in wrestling ever again. Because because PG rating and sponsorships and corporate investors. Yeah. But I actually, here's the thing. They did the Master and the Apprentice route, and that was awesome. Since Jordan Devlin did learn from Finn Balor, which just adds more cosmic coincidences because of the fact they look so much alike physically. And then we see Finn Balor do the Bloody Sunday for the first time in God knows how long. But, here's the thing that I would have loved more. Imagine if Jordan Devlin won. Imagine that. That would have been a huge boost of confidence from management to say, you're going to be a top guy here. And we're going to ride that momentum. If they really went there, not only would they have just he defeated his master, but he also defeated the Universal Champion, the original one, and was sadly snuffed out from that mission because of an injury accident that I do not blame Rollins for in any way possible, other than it was a huge mistake, and even Balor admitted that it was mostly his fault. But still, imagine if Jordan Devlin won. That would have actually been a huge, shocking development for a lot of people to see the developmental character defeat the mainstream guy. And like I said, this match was awesome. Like, it wasn't better than the tag team match because it was short and whatnot, but the reason why it was awesome, not just because of the match quality, but because you had the fans chanting for Balor, like, this is the guy we want! Now, if Finn Balor was allowed to stay in NXT UK, or NXT in general, that would be a glorious day for everybody. Then we get to this no disqualification match between Dave Mastiff and Eddie Dennis. And basically, from what I was seeing from the promo, that this was basically a gigantic revenge story. As in, Dennis lost his undefeated streak, and now he's going for revenge, and he's making this a no DQ match. And I'm just thinking, imagine if Asuka did that after she lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania. That would have been freaking awesome. Oh, wait, we can't do that because character motivations have to not make sense, right? Yeah, this was clearly a revenge storyline. Like, Dave took away his enemy's undefeated streak, and he wants revenge. And a lot of people were initially skeptical of how this match would go, mostly because it was a match that some people I knew didn't care about. But heading into that match, I was like, okay, I didn't think the match was gonna suck. I thought, like, Triple H likes to exploit the positives and hide the negatives, accentuate it and whatnot. Let's see how he does with this match. And sure enough, they really did well. A lot better than a lot of people expected. Like, it was chaotic. It was a demolition derby, like they kept saying. They were doing chair shots to each other, kendo sticks, steel steps, and table spots. It actually would have been hilarious and revolutionary to some if they did take the table out, set it up, and never used it. That would have actually been pretty interesting. Because imagine if the fans actually start chanting start chanting something relating to the fact the table was not used, that the table was spared. Maybe they could chant, "Spare the table! Spare the table!" and whatnot. But ultimately, Dave Mustiff defeats Eddie Dennis with a cannonball through the table. Ouch. And he would ultimately get the victory, ending this revenge storyline, and thus proving to everybody that revenge is the most worthless of causes. And now we get to a match that was spewing with controversy, not in terms of presentation, but because it relates to one of the wrestlers, Ripley and Toni Storm. Heading into this event, Toni Storm kind of had her life kind of wrecked a little bit because someone, and I don't know who, because they are probably never going to be seen on the internet ever again, and if they ever show themselves on the internet, they're going to be butchered by the internet, posted images of Toni Storm, and people were retweeting it, showcasing it, and basically attacking her for God knows what reason, causing her to delete all her social media accounts. And a lot of people were worried that her career would be ruined for this, not because of Vince or the management, but because she probably would lose her confidence or something. And Rhea Ripley kind of didn't help matters when she attacked those who were saying hashtag we support Toni Storm, which I was like, okay, I get she's a heel, I guess she has a storyline with Toni Storm, but why? Just why? So yeah, a lot of people were really looking forward to seeing this match, to see how this goes. And holy mother of God, it was pretty amazing. It was, like, apparently a lot of people were saying that Ripley's finisher move was never kicked out of so far in NXT UK, and Toni Storm would be the one that does it. And sure enough, this match was kind of emotional for a lot of people. Like, I was a little surprised that fans were split in their cheers. You would think they would favor more Toni Storm following what happened, and they would boo Ripley like she was the worst thing to happen ever because of her tweet she had made the day before the event. And this was hard hitting. There were headbutts, so that should show you how hard hitting it was. There was. And I looked at the NXT Women's title. It's pretty good looking on that title. I really do love its design. Mostly the NXT Tag Team UK titles are the supreme crafted ones. But yeah, they would use their finishers. Like I think Ripley would use hers for the Riptide twice, or at least once, and Toni Storm would use a Storm Zero for at least twice. And at least they didn't overblow the whole finisher move thing. Like, I don't have a problem with that because I play WWE games, and how many times have I used the finisher multiple times against somebody and they don't kick out? So, yeah. So seeing Toni Storm finally get this big win, finally be given the title to run with, and I'm thinking, like, I haven't seen a very mostly pretty much ready for superstardom since Paige, and that also scares me because they can screw it up on the main roster. Also, by the way, Triple H wants to end that term, the WWE main roster. He wants to end the whole call-up system. Oh, I can't imagine why that would be the case. Can't imagine why. So yeah, Toni Storm with this emotional victory, and especially needed after what happened. I'm proud of her. I want her to take that title and run with it and go as far as she can with it, because this is going to be a pretty phenomenal run with her. And now we get to the main event of the evening. Pete Dunne versus the Bruiserweight versus Joe Coffey, the Iron King. which led me to make a bunch of jokes about how he should stay on the Iron Throne should he win. And oh my god, like I talked with some people in the Elite group I'm in, but they would say the match wasn't being so good. But I was thinking to myself, I didn't say this, but I was thinking like the crowd's eating it up. But the reason why I didn't find the beginning of the first part of the match to be bad was because I've seen this match before. It's the Bobby Roode style they're going with, where they go the slower pace route and then move to fast and aggressive when it reaches this real big momentum and build it up. Like it's telling a story where the first part is slow and whatnot. Then we get to the climax and then we reach the climax and then all of a sudden it's chaos. And then we go down and falling action and then it's just ending on that big spectacle of it. And this match was over 30 minutes long. And I loved, and here's the thing, I would have been alright if Pete Dunne lost, because he's already done his mission, in my opinion. He's the champion for over 600 days, yeah. He's defended in independent promotions before NXT UK was a thing. He's surpassed Lesnar and Punk as the longest reigning champ of the modern era. And here's the thing I love most about it. The commentators made it official. They did declare that it was the longest title of the modern era. So Pete Dunne has surpassed Lesnar. So that means by that logic, he should be main eventing all the pay-per-views now. So yeah, Pete Dunne is the longest reigning champion of all of modern era WWE. So Vince, take your Lesnar excuse of him being lazy and go F himself. And then... And I still refuse to recognize Lesnar's reign as long because he barely defended the title and he wasn't even there. CM Punk was around and he was injured one point and he still showed up for work even though he wanted to take a break, but still to rest up, which would have been easy to understand because he's having wear and tear, but he still showed up for work. And then you have Lesnar. Mr. I'm going to just sit on my couch and don't watch the show to know what I'm doing next week when I finally show up and just bounce around. I'm just going to sit down, maybe hang out with the wife and kids, and then maybe go hunting and not cause controversy by posting on Instagram. And for some reason, people send me death threats becoming hypocritical about everything. And I'm not referencing anything impossible. Please note that. So, yeah, I'll probably talk about that one day. So, yeah, Pete Dunne and Joe Coffey, like, I almost did think Joe was going to win. I would have actually enjoyed it because the Iron King ascends to his Iron Throne. And I even have a Game of Thrones picture for that. So, yeah, that actually would have been interesting if they did that. But, yeah, this was... And there was a botch at the moment, and then they got back up, continued the match, and tried to do it again, and this time they succeeded. It was a pretty nasty botch, but I did love the match entirely, despite that botch. But there was something that bugged a lot of people, was how the match ended. Pete Dunne winning wasn't the problem. It was the fact that Pete Dunne drops his finisher on Joe Coffey and gets the and he kicks out, only for Pete Dunne to put him in a submission and start breaking his fingers, only for him to immediately start tapping out, which was like, what just happened? What just happened? But, yeah. And then, with Pete Dunne now cementing his legacy and continuing his reign of dominance, we believe we have found the perfect man to destroy him. Walter! The NXT formula continues in NXT UK, where they go ahead and do the fake-out ending, where they're going to end the show with Celebration, only to reveal, no, it's not ending yet, we still got one more surprise. Walter, who had recently signed with WWE, finally shows up, confronts Pete Dunne, then super kicks Coffey back outside the ring. And Walter seems to say something to Dunn. It sounded like a congratulations. And I had heard that he kept his theme song, so that's good. He kept his name. But there is one match everyone was more excited about, besides Walter and Pete Dunne, which is going to be awesome. It's Walter versus Pac on the independent scene when his contract expires. You see, he still works for the independents. He's still signed with WWE, but he can still finish his obligations. And his last match just happens to be the guy who had the balls to say, "Fuck Vince, I'm walking out." So, yeah, that's going to say something. I wouldn't be surprised if Vince does freak out and realizes, "You lost to Neville? You lost to Neville? Triggered!" Anyways, yeah, I had to do that. The fans of the UK audience were phenomenal. They were the best part of the show, in all honesty, with their chants and singing and the tables and tables thing and doing the fandangoing. And then they did something that was like, okay, that's pretty awesome. Where they did something that not even the NXT American branch did. Was scream out to the top of their lungs, "Are you watching Vince McMahon? Are you watching Vince McMahon? Are you watching Vince McMahon?" So yeah, everyone was freaking out on the internet like, "Oh my god, they really said that." Not in the bad sense that like they were offended, more like the, "Oh my god, they really just said that." Oh, I'm curious to know what Vince's reaction will be to this, if he even watches it. And then Vince wrote on Twitter after the show where he claims he did watch it, and he said it was awesome, and had a picture of Pete Dunne, and everyone didn't believe it. No, seriously, not a lot of people believed what Vince said was true. Everyone assumed this was an intern telling him, or Vince was hacked, or it was a bot. Like, it's just become so obvious Vince's hatred for Triple H and NXT Chrome talent that it's hard to actually imagine Vince actually watching NXT, his enemy, even though it's part of the same damn company. That it's hard to imagine if Vince actually acknowledged its existence. Like there is evidence that does say he did watch an NXT show, i.e. NXT Tech Dallas, where he saw Nakamura and Sami Zayn. There's a picture of him watching the match from backstage. I think Triple H posted it. So, yeah, a lot of people just had a hard time buying that. No way, Vince, come on, you hate Triple H. You hate your son-in-law because he's better than you in every way. But this was the highlight of the show for me on that. The card was supreme. It was awesome. We got some great surprises. I'm looking forward to where the NXT UK brand goes. And this just makes me think of one beautiful thing. Imagine if NXT got its own national mainstream TV show on TV, NXT, the original, and then there's AEW if they got a TV show, and we're head to head on Tuesday nights, since they have a show planned called Tuesday Night Dynamite, so that should say something what the name's going to be. And they went head to head. People would be like, I gotta switch channels. Oh god, I think my fingers are busted. It was worth it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hoping that happens one day. The Tuesday Night Wars, damn it. The best of WWE by Triple H and the best of the independents clashing head to head for supremacy. That would be a dream come true. I'll find a way to watch both somehow if that ever happened. Even if I must resort to drastic measures. Now I'll just use my streaming services I got. So, yeah. NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool. Freaking awesome show. I loved every moment of it. I can't wait what's going to happen for this brand. I can't wait for Walter and Pete Dunne. I can't wait for where this is all going to go to. I really was impressed with Joe Coffey, though. I didn't know who he was, but I was like, okay, he's going to eventually ascend to the Iron Throne. It's inevitable after that performance he showed. But yeah, this was a phenomenal card. It had it had some good surprise, two great surprises. It kept to the NXT formula of success. It changed certain stuff up a bit, but it was still a success. Um, I love the crossover of Finn Balor finally returning to his home world of his home domain of NXT and starting taking names again. Too bad it's not going to be permanent. I'm sad now. But anyways, that's my thoughts on NXT TakeOver UK Blackpool. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.